If you think about it, isn't walkie-talkie the most absurd name for something you've ever heard? I mean, it sounds like something I'd be saying to my 2-year-old, like, okay, we're going to go for a little walkie, and then we can talkie on this thing. Just the things that strike me. Regardless, by the time we're done here, we will observe Syslog messages, their format, and their options for historical files. So Syslog is kind of like a walkie-talkie for your devices. And I'm going to leave devices nice and broad because it's a universal standard. It could be Cisco network devices. It could be a server. It could be all kinds of things that send messages in a common, well-known format. And you may not have known it, but you've seen them all along. When you log into one of your Cisco devices, let me just get logged into a router right here. And let's just say I'm going into, configuration mode. I'm doing my thing, blah, 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 doing some config. And then I exit out. Right about there is where the first Syslog message is seen. Now, we've seen these messages all the time. We just probably didn't recognize them as Syslog. It's a well-known format. It's not just something that Cisco made up to say, well, let's do a percent rate. Nope. If you go to the standards bodies that be, you will find out there is a well-known format for Syslog. It is the date, the time, then the message itself. You can see this whole thing. And even inside of here, there's categories. Like, for instance, it says you got to have a percent. Then it's going to be like the major service, essentially, that generated. It's a system level message. Then within there's a severity. For instance, this is severity number 5. Hang on. Let's open a web browser and type in Syslog severity levels, right? And let's just see a quick Google. We've got... let's just grab this guy right here, SolarWinds. Syslog severity levels. And you can see right up here, there should be 7 levels. 8 levels, 0 through 7, of Syslog that you can have. So for instance, we just saw a level 5 message. Remember, we looked at it right there. It's a 5. What is a 5? A 5 means that we are getting a notice. This is an event that's unusual, but not an error condition. Like, I would want to know if somebody just logged into my device and did some configuration on it. I mean, if I'm an administrator, even if it's just me, I'd want to be like, okay, good. I'm glad you caught that. It's not usual to be in there configuring it. I'd want to know about it, but it's definitely not an error. And you can see the further down you go, you get to warning, you get to error. Ooh, what can we do that causes an error? Oh, I know. Let's imagine I just walked up to this router and unplugged the interface. Flip back to the screen, flip to my console, and right there, bam, I see 2 messages actually came across. One is, hey, line protocol just went down, changed state to down. That's a level 5. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd say that's a little more than unusual. And it's like, oh, well, I've got one for you right here. There's actually a link down, level 3. Okay, what was level 3? That would be an error condition. This is an example. An application has exceeded its file storage limits. Or in our case, the network interface of a Cisco router has gone down. I'm going to reach back and plug that in. So you can see, and they call this, by the way, faculty facility right here. And then inside of there, this is what happened within there. So this is system level. This is line level. This is link level. So again, data link layer. Then down here, we're down to the actual physical link itself. Went through an up-down change. So you can see, and I'm reaching here. I plugged my interface back in. I expected to see some status messages coming back up, but I'm not. And I'm wondering, did I break my interface? Plug that back in. Is it? Oh, big dummy. I'm plugging it into the aux port. Oh my goodness. There we go. So it's plugged back into the gigabit Ethernet there. I just saw the light go back on, and I can't believe I did that. That's terrible. That's like, no, Bobby. It's walkie-talkie. Anyway, so right here, we're back to change state to up. We can see, again, severity level 3. It doesn't matter. It went up. That's a major change inside of a network environment. So these are the different Syslog messages, and these are the different levels. You will probably, well, if you see a level 0, that'll probably be the last thing you see from that device. That's pretty much system is going down, crash, whatever, and the last thing it got out, it was memory resident, is there's a drive failure or something of that nature, right? So these are the different levels, and I will say, as much as I hate it, I've seen exam vendors like to just test people on levels. They're like, multiple choice. What's a level 3? And you have to be like, and I will tell you, just Jeremy's feeling, normal network engineers don't know them all. I mean, they might remember, okay, level 3, and they got a general feel like that's pretty bad. But they're normal network engineers on the job aren't going to be like, oh yeah, that's an error message. But you may have to learn those if you're studying for a certification exam. So that being said, these are actually stored in the log file on your Cisco devices. It's a memory resident storage place where you can type in show log, and you can see essentially every single one of the messages that have come through. You can see what facility, what service essentially generated it, the severity of that message, and you can just scroll down. And this is what people do. This is when you're troubleshooting, you're looking at the log file, find out what happened, what changed in your environment, and you can use this all the time. The challenge is it's, number one, memory resident. So when you reboot the device, all those log messages are lost. The second is it's on the device, meaning in order to see those logs, I have to go to that device, do the show log, and scroll, troll through, what could be tens of thousands of lines to actually find what I'm looking for. Because of that, there are all kinds of off-box, let's just say off of the network device, storage locations that you can use. And what people will do is they'll go into every one of their Cisco devices. So they'll set up a server, right? So let me just grab a pen. They'll set up a server. Let's just say, I plugged my server into the network. It is 10.1.1.1, right? And there's your switch, and there's your router, et cetera, et cetera. You can configure these guys to log to that server. And it doesn't have to be like a full-on big server. It could be just a Windows client device. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when I'm doing network troubleshooting, I'm out at a client site or something like that, and I'm trying to figure stuff out, I'll set up just a Syslog server on my client device that I can use. So how do you do that? Well, first off, let me show you this. To set up a device, it's really easy. To do its logging to that server, all you got to do is go in and type in logging, and you can see, there's all kinds of stuff you can configure, but I would just say 10.1.1.1, right? That's where I want to send my log files to. Enter. It's now going to send syslog messages over to that device. So let's say that device is my Windows 10 workstation, right? Then I would open up a web browser, go to Google, type in free syslog server, right? You'll see, of course, anything with ad is not free. So scroll down a little bit more, and there's your first non-ad place. I'll click on this, and 6 free Syslog servers. So right up front is Kiwi. I'm more in the loss. Kiwi was actually acquired probably 10 years ago by SolarWinds. They used to have the most amazing free Syslog server. And if you can find the old version of their software, it is pretty amazing. I think SolarWinds has a free version, but in my humble opinion, it's just not as good as it used to be. But if you scroll down a little bit, you can see there's more SNMP soft. There's password PRTG. That's my favorite network monitoring. But honestly, you just want something really simple, like the Dude. I've never used it, but I mean, just something with a window that doesn't fill your screen with ads to buy stuff. That can just display I see What's Up, and I'm like, that's a commercial vendor. I see Splunk. That's an amazing platform, but it's huge. Like, I would not want to install Splunk to just do some quick troubleshooting. So look for something small. Maybe this, and I don't know, something small that you can install on there. And what happens is as soon as you configure it, all those messages, and you can see they're kind of blurred out right here, all those messages you can recognize. Now, this is from looks like a SAN or something like that. They start showing up on your computer. From there, you can filter, you can scroll, you can search for exactly the message that you're looking for to help troubleshoot what's going on. So Syslog. Very valuable. Obviously, you've been seeing syslog messages this whole time. We just now identified them like, that's a common format. That's syslog format, right? Very handy for troubleshooting. Very great to set up a server off box for historical files. With that being said, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.